So this work today is about logical inference, Bayesian logical inference, and is made in collaboration with Professor Marco Pizzi from Princeton University. And I would say that most of the dirty work was made by some of my students, and particularly Denise, Andrea, Carlo, and Daniel, that are currently randomly distributed among Trento, Portland, and New Jersey. Yeah, what is the motivation of this work? We were talking about structural monitoring, and from the logical point of view, structural monitoring is basically using information from a sensor to infer logical state of a structure. So it is all about making inference, and this is normally done based on certain information. We really enjoyed the yesterday presentation by Professor Beck, and we all agree in this room, I presume, that Bayesian inference is really the proper way to understand what is to handle certain information to get the correct condition state of a structure. However, I would say that I observed that in my experience and interaction, educational interaction with other structural engineers, that most structural engineers are often struggle to understand what are the concepts, how to apply properly Bayesian inference, simply because they don't have a solid background in Bayesian statistics. And very often they prefer to make inference using heuristic rather than a proper logical inference method. That's a real pity because structural engineers are, when they are in front of a structural engineering problem, they use very sophisticated models, many degree of freedom models with a lot of non-linearity. It's very curious that in front of this complexity, they're still using quite a different method for doing inference. So, what we would like to propose today is a method for easy logical inference based on a formal analogy between the mechanics and Bayesian logic. And I will show you how this can apply in some cases starting from a single degree of freedom, simple for multi-parameter cases. So let's start very easy. Let's start with the easier possible inference problem and say that we want to infer parameter theta, and based on a set of uncertain information, y1, y2, y3. And the assumption that we can use to start that everything is Gaussian, everything is linear, so nothing can be easier. So for example, say that we want to estimate what is the mean value of a complex trend FCM, and based on 3 samples that we have sampled from complex factors, from a bridge, for example, and let's make some assumptions, say that, for example, the time variability of concrete is, according to EC2, has a standard deviation of 5 megapascal, and say that we have no prior information about the concrete class. So we will, when we're in front of such a problem, what we probably are doing, going to do, is that we use the classical inverse variance rule that apply when everything is linear and Gaussian. And so, for example, the inverse variance of the parameter that we want to infer is just the sum of the inverse variance of each information. So in this case, it is very critical the problem because we end up understanding that the standard deviation of FCM is basically the standard deviation of the variability of concrete divided by the square root of 3. And we want to infer in general sense what is the mean value of our parameter. The general rule is to apply the inverse variance rule, so whereby the parameter is the weighted average of all the information using the inverse variance as a weight. So in this case, again, the solution is very trivial because the variance of all the information is the same, and so it corresponds to the average of our information. Okay, but in general sense, however, when everything is linear and Gaussian, we can use quite simple rules for making inference. So the first rule is the inverse variance rule. So the inverse variance of the parameter is the sum of the inverse variance of each information. And the mean value of the parameter is the weighted average of the information using the inverse variance as a weight. And when we have a piece of information that is affected by multiple sources of uncertainty, we can also use a second inference rule, which is basically what we call the error propagation rule. So the variance of an information is the sum of the variance of each source of uncertainty into this information. Okay, then to make this everything more simple, let's define a quantity W, which is basically the inverse variance of an information or a parameter. So W is like a weight, because we're using the inverse variance for weighting our information. And let's call it, this quantity has already many names. For example, we normally call it Fisher information. But for this case, let's call it accuracy. That will give the practical sense of this quantity. So the variance is basically the measure of our uncertainty about a parameter. So the inverse variance is basically, or the accuracy is the measure of how well we know our parameters. So if we write the first, the inverse variance rule using accuracy as a parameter, we find out that the accuracy of the parameter is simply the sum of the accuracy of each information that we use to infer our parameter. And the mean value of the parameter is simply the weighted average of our information using the accuracy as a weighting factor. So if we look at this equation with the eye of a civil engineer or a structural engineer, we will probably recognize in this equation, the same equation that we're using for calculating the equivalent stiffness of a system of spring and parallel, right? So, and if we take the second inference rule, the error propagation rule, so now it writes the inverse accuracy is the sum of the inverse accuracy of all the information. So this reminds me very, very closely the equivalent stiffness of a set of spring and parallel. So indirectly we have made, we have just observed some kind of correspondence between the world of mechanics and the world of logic that we can, as structural engineers, exploit to make inference in more complicated situations. So the statement of this mechanical equivalence is basically this. So imagine that the parameter we want to infer, we want to identify, is a sliding bar. So the position of this bar is the value of the parameter we want to identify. Okay? If we get an information through monitoring about this parameter, it's like bounding this bar to that piece of information using a spring. And the spring, the thickness of the spring, is the accuracy of our information. The more accurate is the information, the stiffer is our spring. And if we have an information that is subjected to many sources of uncertainty. So in this case, it's like attaching our bar to a spring, to a set of springs in parallel, and each spring is basically one of the sources of uncertainty. So what is uncertainty? What is inference in this case? So the expected value posteriori for our parameter is basically the position of the bar at equilibrium, when we are attached to all the information to our system. And the variance posteriori for our system is basically the stiffness, the mechanical, the flexibility of our system once everything is at equilibrium. Okay, so these are the this is basically our mechanical analogy. So in the world of logic, accuracy and or inverse variance correspond in mechanics to stiffness. And in the variance correspond to flexibility mechanics. Any observation corresponds to a spring with a particular space tension, which is the value of our observation, and the expected value of the parameter we want to infer corresponds to the position at equilibrium of our bar. Using this idea, for example, we can see some system where we have a single observation for our parameter. Here we have three uncorrelated information for our parameter, and here we have a single information subjected to multiple sources of uncertainty. And for example, using the same analogy, we can, make a picture of a Bayes theorem and find the mechanical equivalent of Bayes theorem. So Bayes theorem basically tells us that the posterior distribution of the parameter is basically the likelihood distribution times the prior distribution, everything divided by an evidence, and the evidence is given by the complicated integral that sometimes is very hard to calculate. However, if we use a mechanical equivalent to draft our Bayes theorem, this is very simple because it's basically so the posterior value of our parameter is the position of this bar, and this bar is bounded by two criteria. One is the likelihood, and the other is the prior information. Okay, so let's go back to the introductory example and say we wanted to identify the posterior distribution of our unknown FCM. Okay, so again, if you want to use even prior information in this case, we can make a picture of a mechanical system that reproduces exactly the inference problem. And so the parameter that we want to identify is the position of this bar, and this is bounded by the three information, that are the three samples that we have extracted from the sample, and also by the prior information that we may have from the concrete. When we have an indirect test, normally the handling the indirect test is a little bit more complicated. This is because when an indirect test, like a pull-out test or a Swiss hammer impact test, for example, they don't give you directly the value of the parameter you want to identify, but they give you something which is somewhat related to that. And the source uncertainty can be higher. So, for example, typically in an indirect test, there is not only an uncertainty related to the normal variability of concrete, but we may also have a bias error that is inherent to our method, and then we may have a random scatter in all the tests. And a problem in dealing with the indirect test is that we have to take properly into account the correlation or incorrelation between this information. For example, the bias is common, is an error which is systematic, so it's common and correlated with all the tests that we're carrying out, while the random scatter is purely correlated. And the inherent variability of the concrete is locally correlated, but in general incorrelated. And so, for example, say that we want to carry out 6 different pull-out tests on 2 different locations of the bridge. That would be a little bit complicated because the 3 tests carried out in this location are correlated and locally correlated in terms of pocket quantity, but correlated in terms of random error. And for example, if we're using the mechanical equivalence to reproduce this system, this is very simple. So we end up with this trio of things that clearly display all the correlation within this variable. What happens if we extend this system to a multiple parameter identification problem? Okay, let's start thinking to the linear Gaussian situation. So the Gaussian multivariate distribution as this expression, and if we look at the exponential term of the multivariate distribution, again the Catalan engineer will probably note that that term is very, very similar to the mechanical potential energy that we're using in thermal mechanics. So it's the exponential term is basically the log distribution of our system, and the analogy in the more general multi-degree freedom system read in this way: the log distribution is the potential energy in mechanics. The parameter we want to identify are the degree of freedom of the mechanical system. The covariant matrix is the flexibility matrix in mechanics, and the equivalency matrix so the Fisher information. This is the stiffness matrix in mechanics. And so for solving a multi-parameter linear Gaussian integration problem, so we can simply write down this potential energy using all the information that we have, all the prior information that we have, and solve exactly in the case of mechanical system. So we can first calculate the Fisher information that was the matrix, which is at the Sn of the potential energy, and the inverse of this matrix in the covariance matrix that we are the covariance matrix of our system. And if we found the stationarity, the equilibrium position of our system is well, the potential energy is stationary, so this gives us the effective value of Montelli of our parameter. Simple application, let's say we want to calculate the elongation trend of a cable or a cable tape bridge. These are the data acquired over the time, so this is a simple linear fitting problem using where we're using however a Bayesian approach for doing that. The parameter we want to identify are two, the intercept of our pipeline and its slope, and the mechanical equivalent can be seen as a rigid bar free to slide and rotate into the space, and the prior information on the linear trend can be seen as a rotational spring with appropriate stiffness or accuracy, and all the information that we're gathering over the time are spring connected to the spring. And so the equilibrium position of the spring will provide us the particular distribution of our parameters. Last thing, okay, we have talked so far about linear Gaussian distribution, and we have observed that we can basically model linear Gaussian information as a linear elastic spring, which has a parabolic potential, which has a restoring force which is linear, and has a stiffness which is independent on its displacement, independent on its stretch. So what happens if the distribution is not Gaussian? You can use exactly the same logic and say a non-Gaussian distribution, an information with a non-Gaussian distribution, as correspond to a non-linear spring. And a non-linear spring which has a potential energy which corresponds again to the log distribution of our spring, which has a restoring force that corresponds to the first derivative of the log distribution, and which has a stiffness that changes with the displacement that corresponds to the second derivative of the potential energy. So for example, if you want to encounter the problem of understanding what is the most likely value of the posterior value of our concrete resistance, this time we're using log normal distribution, so we have to introduce a non-linear element, a non-linear spring that has a restoring force which corresponds to the first derivative of the log distribution of our log normal distribution. Okay, and so this is basically the system can be solved exactly using a non-linear finite element model, exactly like any other platform model. So conclusions. So Software monitoring requires us to make inference under certain information, and very often software engineering are unfamiliar with Bayesian logic, and they tend to make inference using heuristics. So what we try to do is to propose an easy method to do inference, which is rigorous, which is based on the formal analogy between Bayesian logic on one side and software mechanics on the other. So using this method, we can solve any complex linear problem, even with the complex correlation between variables and even with non-Gaussian distribution. And the solution is found using the same method that we're using in classical software mechanics, including finite element models if you want. So here on, we have been using ANSYS or Abacus to solve a classical problem, but just learned that we can use ANSYS or Abacus